The Roundtable Podcast Part 1, Copyright. This podcast format is a combination of the solo podcast, the co-host podcast, the interview podcast. It is like the solo podcast in that one person may take the role of the chairperson, the one who directs the flow of conversation, so that the discussion moves around the table and doesn't get stuck on one person. It is like the co-host podcast in that all parties, whether 3 to 10 participants, take equal responsibility in developing the conversation by sharing openly and truthfully with each other. It is like the interview podcast when the discussion comes to the turn of a singular party and the other participants give their total attention, listening with interest and respect. The next speaker then builds upon this person's conversation and does not take off on a personal tangent or topic that side rails the entire roundtable discussion. Roundtable podcasts are different from the other podcasts as this format has a stronger tendency to create loyal followers as it creates familiar and family feelings in the audience members. The Roundtable podcast aims to reflect the type of interchange that exists between friends. This is very different from the panel discussion, which is based upon an expertise, which is more like a shared interview of professionals. Roundtables are more organic and looser in societal conventions and manners. The discussion does not sound rehearsed, though a well-delivered roundtable podcast is carefully planned and the recording is edited to achieve the roundtable's ultimate goal of building a listener audience. In this video, we are discussing those factors which affect your copyright release contracts. Those factors are how to pick a topic, how to choose your guest speakers. How to pick a topic. Venture into your community by attending public meetings being held on topics of concern. These meetings contain the budding seeds for your roundtable talks. Some of these topics may be hobbies holding the interest of many people, whether a current episodic hobby, an example creating a craft show, or an ongoing sustainable community endeavor, i.e. maintaining a dog park, growing a public garden. Your topic choice will affect copyright and FCC radio broadcast requirements. For example, the roundtable may discuss the upcoming community play production. If there will be any reading of the written play, you will have to obtain permission from the playwright. There may be topics of small businesses, such as the Chamber of Commerce events, or the establishing of home-based cottage businesses. If one speaker will be a representative from a business, they may need permission from their employer to discuss any issues. Another example of releases. A speaker is a public personality under an agency contract. They may need to get agency permission to appear in the podcast. In addition to these specific releases, all speakers require a talent release. Review the videos on fair use to determine if the use of topic material stays within those copyright-free limitations, or if additional permissions are required. Any specific signed releases must be included with your podcast submission to KCPK-LP. For other required releases, please review the prior videos. Solo, co-host, and interview podcasts. The choice of topic might affect FCC rules of advertising versus underwriting versus infomercial format. Whereas underwriting is permitted at the end of the podcast, there are prohibitions against commercial advertising and education appearing in guise of an infomercial. How to choose your guest speakers. The goal of the roundtable is for your audience to feel that they have been invited to a private party as an honored guest. To achieve that effect, you must know your speakers. You will want to pick speakers who are knowledgeable on the topic, providing education to the audience. You want to avoid speakers who display opinionated viewpoints not based upon facts. You will ensure that the speakers get along with each other. If necessary, you may form several groups of roundtable speakers in order to place friends with each other, rather than pairing speakers with conflictual peers. This method by which you recruit your speakers may entail a specific release, such as a producer's release. A good way to gain an in-depth impression of your possible speakers is to observe them during the workshop trainings you may give. The training topics will reveal multiple facets of your speakers as they gain skills and interact with each other in demonstrating the skills. KCPK-LP does not dictate your roundtable format choice, nor will KCPK-LP reject a submission solely on that criteria. However, the radio station does want your podcast to become an audience success. In part 2 of the Roundtable podcast, we discuss a specific style of roundtable podcasting which may generate local community interest and involvement. Part 2 will discuss how to integrate the roundtable through workshop training in moderator as included speaker, responsive conversation, deep listening, externalizing the inner monologue, creating flowing on-topic speaker transitions, summary and closure, resources, editing considerations, special co-ownership releases.